Harrier II. Got it? I'm the director of 108 Lives, but not the main doer of 108 Lives. 108 Lives is a project we all started in this room, thanks to that lady who opened up her big mouth. When was it? 4 years ago, we started getting. Yeah, she was sitting back under the green Buddha that wasn't there, and we were talking about. Yeah, when we went to Nepal. So we started 108 Lives here in this room. I had done a photo essay in Nepal in 2008, interviewing 108 beggars, people on the streets of Kathmandu, and I wanted to know why they were on the street and what it was that they had in them that might want more out of life. Yeah, I assumed they were unhappy, and then I assumed they wanted something else to be happy. Later I discovered differently. Right, but at the beginning, I thought I'm going to do a nice thing, and then I thought there's 108 people, and it was actually a really beautiful experience to connect with 108 people over several months, ask them questions and photograph them, with the hope that if I connected with other people that wanted to help these strangers, just because an experiment in unconditional giving, then maybe something would come out of it, and something did. We started teaching Buddhist classes here, and the proposition was, instead of just talking philosophy, meditation, all this stuff, and all about me and my happiness, etc., what would happen if I turned all that stuff I learned and put it towards the happiness of others, as well as me, but towards others. So we talked about doing different experiments. And this project, like that photo essay of 108 people, maybe we can go and pop into their lives again and give them whatever they think they want, or we think they want. So we decided, okay, let's study these ideas of how you get happy in the world, how you transcend suffering. And a big part of the Buddhist teachings is take care of others, give, not money, but give of your intent to others, and see how that changes your DNA, your internal DNA. So that's how the project started, and then it evolved over time. So we'll talk about a little bit about that. There's a bunch of people online from other parts of the country and other countries who wanted to catch up and be part of the trip. The purpose of today's talk is 108 Lives as a project has been running since that first meeting in 2008, and then subsequent journeys in 2011, 12, 13, 14, and now 15. So we go, and then beyond the trips that we go and exchange things with the people of Nepal that began with those 108 and grew into those 3 kids on the street got put into that orphanage. You can't help just 3 kids in an orphanage and leave everyone else alone. So we go, oh, let's help the whole orphanage, right? So now 3 kids turn into 50 kids, and then those 5 kids over here were going to this school. You can't go and help these few kids at school, you've got to help the whole school of 150 people. And these 2 came from that village, and you go to the village and you're the only thing, you can't just help that one, so you help the whole village. So we've got thousands of people that we're helping now in a very intimate way, and not a professional non-profit. So I want to say that really up front. This is not a UNICEF, this is not a Save the Children's Fund. This is very personal, very in your face, very micro project where we spend time in people's homes, in people's classrooms, with kids' lives, day to day. Yeah? And so the process of 108 Life is not just, oh, I've helped you now and got away. It's like we're intricately connected now. Because not as I help you, inverted commas, or connect with you, you change, and you can't help that change and that relationship with the other person, as many of the people that have been to Nepal can profess to. So that's a little summary of 108. The purpose of today's meeting is just to do Q&A for people that are thinking about coming. We've changed a few things about going this year, and this year the need for us to go was very different to previous years. Well, let's go help you learn something new language, let's play, let's go on an excursion, let's put a hot water tower, let's That's been the past. This year we got phone calls from people saying our village is completely destroyed. We had an earthquake. Can you beautiful Westerners who have been our friends for a long time help us? And we have no idea what to do in a disaster. We don't know. We've never rebuilt towns. I felt completely at a loss when we received those phone calls. But I thought it was our duty to help them. They were family, you know. So we had some funds that we were going to do a medical clinic in October, and we used all of those funds to send 4 medics from the US pretty much immediately to connect with 2 doctors in Nepal and to go reconnaissance in all the places we've been helping to check if everyone was okay, if they needed any kind of help, and then if they had extra time to go and help whatever other efforts were going on with the earthquake and post-earthquake in Nepal. So those 4 medics went, they connected with all of the people we work with. Out of all the people we worked with, there was 7 people died in one of the small villages called Fulpi. The entire village is destroyed, and 1 person died in Kathmandu, the cook for our last trip to Fulpi. Beyond those tragedies, everyone else was okay. The kids in the orphanages and the buildings of the orphanages in Kathmandu were 100% fine. In fact, one of the places, a place called Rokpa that we work with, had internet within a few hours. But you know, electricity came back and they had internet, they were posting and so on. Another area we work with a bunch of homeless people, it's called the tent village, the people that make these quilts to put their kids in school, and they live in a shanty town, we would call it, made out of bamboo and plastic. And everyone there was fine, you know. So we got word from people saying we're okay. But this one village, remote village called Fulping, that we had been the first Westerners to visit ever in 2012, I think. Yeah. Completely destroyed, devastated, nothing. And we've been helping get that school up and going. So that became the target for any fundraising this year and any efforts on our behalf. So I'll cover a little bit of that, which will be the main goal of going there this year. And the second main goal will be also to be there, meaning there is the number 1 source of income for all of Nepal is tourism. And if Westerners disappear, it doesn't matter how much aid they get from the UN, it doesn't matter, because their main source of income, the shop in the corner, the hotel over there, the guy that makes them, and they all make money from you and you visiting and buying something. So there's been several calls for tourists to please keep coming back, Yeah? So we'll cover a few of those things, and it'll just be a pretty simple Q&A. But before we start, I want everybody to say who they are and whether you've been to Nepal or not, and if you have, whether you're with us or with someone else, and what your goal for being in the meeting is important to me. So name, why you're here, and have you been. So you can start. Yeah, Misty.
My name is Misty. I've been part of the project from the beginning, after the Hector's first trip there when we found everybody. And I helped organize this event today so everybody could have the information about the trip. And I did go with 108 Lives to Nepal in 2012. Yeah, I was there in 2012, and I hope very much to have the opportunity to go in this October with 108 Lives again.
Cool. Thanks, Nancy.
I'm Steven. I went the first trip with Hector in 2012. And what do you want me to say?
Maybe talk a little bit about what your experience was, and then whether you're coming this year or not.
I do plan on coming this year. Probably not as long as I've gone in the past, maybe for only 2 or 3 weeks. But the first trip I went was amazing. I didn't really know what I was in for. I didn't have any expectations. and it was life changing. Like I went and then I came back and I didn't live my life the same way. I stopped doing drugs and drinking and I became vegetarian. That's like the short list of how my life changed. Overall, I became like ankle deep into Buddhism, and then I dove in after that. But
so when he says I became vegetarian, the first picture I have is of you seeing the carcass of meat at the butcher market around Bodena, like this, like a market. Yeah, it's like here it is sitting there with flies on it. And I'm like, that's really became vegetarian.
Yeah, it was really easy. And then the second trip was awesome. I stayed longer. I got to really hang out with the kids, get to know them, and I spent most of my time just like with the kids as much as possible. And then I plan on doing the same thing this trip. I really want to go back this trip for the kids. Like Hector was mentioning, like I don't know if we're gonna be ready to build when we get there this time, and I'm like, that's fine. I just want to hang out with the kids anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just so good for your soul to be over there. It's like you're in a different country. You're not doing what you're normally doing. You don't have a job like you do over here, and you just get to like shed off so many layers of New York City or wherever you're from, and then rebuild yourself. And then you come back like armored for New York City or wherever you're going back to.
I didn't ask you, Missy, why you want to go this year. But you sort of mentioned it there, like I want to connect with the kids, and then the shedding off experience. But why would you want to go?
It completely changed my life also, being there. And just an opportunity to give, like 24 hours a day, and just wake up in the morning and want to give. And it's addictive, and you almost feel guilty because it makes you feel so good. And yeah, just a special connection to that village Philippine that was destroyed in the earthquake, and want to go back there and help and see all the kids and families and the refugee camp.
Cool. Thank you. I'm going to jump. I'm going to leave you two to last because I know you're probably going to say really good things. Hi.
Hi.
Who are you? Why are you here?
I'm Joram, the winner of the raffle.
You won the raffle ticket to Nepal. We raffled a ticket this year again, and it was awesome that you won.
You'll tell us at the end if it was awesome.
Yeah.
We thought it was awesome that you won.
Well, one reason I really want to go is a friend of mine actually went over 15 or so years ago, and as the lead of, well, it was an organization. He helped establish an organization to create an orphanage, and he went over as the lead guy and married a Nepali woman and adopted 10 kids. And they're all actually, I guess the youngest one's 19 now.
Wow. The youngest one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's looking at leaving soon, coming back to the state. He has 2 biological children, and so he's sort of getting his adopted kids to be on their own, and then he's planning to move back to the States next year. I've been wanting to see him for years.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited about that aspect. And he actually, I just saw him the other day. He comes back once a year for a month or so. So I saw him. He's excited.
Where is his orphanage? Do you know?
I don't know precisely. Kathmandu.
He doesn't have a look at it.
Yeah. So, and aside from that, like, well, I'm a privileged American, and I'm kind of, I guess, a little bit tired of that to some degree. So, and I've never really been anywhere in the world other than England, you know, and
They need help.
yeah, yeah, right. And so I really don't have. I wouldn't say I have a specific desire other than the experience and the deeper levels that of karma and all that. That I don't have a strong grasp of, but somewhere emotionally I have a grasp of them, and so
Yeah. Cool.
yeah.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Pam, and I wanted to go to Nepal for a long time, for many reasons. I'm just dabbling a little bit in Buddhism and the teachings, reading a lot. It's always struck me as a really magical, and kind of spiritual place. And I'm in a major transition in my life, in a lot of different ways, and I've been really focusing on, finding myself really focusing on connecting with friends and family and giving of myself and wanting to have those relationships, nurture those relationships, and I like a good challenge. And I like the idea of disconnecting from everything, you know, in like you said, the privileged American, and really connecting with the people there that really desperately need our help. I got the little newsletter notice about it because I got the information about rituals.
So you saw it on the newsletter of the rituals.
Yeah, and so that just several things kind of clicked, and I thought, let me go find out.
Nice, good. Thank you. Hey.
Hey, I'm Bertie, and like Hector said, I've been involved early on with the project, and I almost got to go to Nepal in 2012. And it was very bittersweet because it was a struggle for me to make the decision to go financially, and then I didn't go because of something else, and now I find myself struggling again to decide whether I want to go, but now I want to push through that to sort of like uncover why I don't want to go. Mainly because I had an experience in India where it was just the energy of the different lifestyles very overwhelming for me. And I want to call it poverty, but it really isn't poverty. It's just a different mindset and lifestyle, and but where we define it as poverty, possibly in our Western mindset. I like to overcome that. And also, this project means so much to me, because I remember how I felt when I sat back there and said that I wanted to volunteer. So, maybe 3 years later, I'm making the commitment to go.
Cool.
And I'm sure the portals will open and allow me to go this time.
It'd be really nice if you came. Yeah. Can I say why you didn't come last time? Yeah. So that she had the flight booked, right?
Yeah, I had the ticket.
Yeah. And then Lady Gaga called to go on, to take you on tour to massage all the people that dance with her. So, did she end up flying the same day that the ticket was, or something weird like that? So she got to leave and travel and do the whole thing, but instead of being with us, having a magical experience, she had to touch sweaty Gaga bodies.
And get a nice paycheck.
Yeah, and get a really nice place.
Can you believe I was still torn?
Yeah.
It's confusing.
I think that's amazing. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, I'm Martina. I'm here with Travis. I don't
Yes,
know a
Travis.
lot about the project, so I'm here to get information. I'm in Nepal.
No.
I love traveling.
Have you been to India?
I have not.
No, okay.
No. I've been to China, over China. But never to Nepal. But it's one place I always wanted to go.
Cool. Well, let's see. If you've got any questions, we'll discuss them. Yeah? Hi.
Hi, I'm Travis. For lots of reasons I'm here. One, Jen is a friend of mine and has filled me in a lot on this project. Two, I'm definitely at a point in my life I'm rediscovering myself, questioning many things in my life in terms of happiness. What is happiness? What is my legacy? Where's my place? What am I here to leave or give back? What am I here to leave behind or help? All of these are very important to me at this point. And to traveling through my photography, one of the main reasons I want to go here is because when I travel, I love to experience another culture, initially identify why I want to take that picture, realize why I took that picture, and when I look back upon that picture later, what does it mean to me and how has it changed? I know I have a lot of social media following and stuff like that, and I can bring change through my pictures and bring help, and that is one of the things I want to leave in the legacy. I did a project that I'm still working on in Guatemala where I went and photographed the kids that work the school buses that become public transportation, and they run on these buses, and the bus will stop and they'll climb the bus with the bikes, run into the front, the bus will start moving, they'll run while the bus is moving back, climb down the bus for the next stop. So I followed these kids for several days and shot that, and that piece is picking up some momentum, and I want to do the same thing here, is bring my eyes and bring my heart and soul, attention, and help to a region and also grow personally.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you might find much opportunity for that. Thank you, Travis. Oh.
Hey, I'm Javier. I know almost.
Now you know everybody.
Yeah, now I know everybody. I have been involved with the project since 2 weeks after it started here. So pretty much since the beginning. At the beginning, I was doing a lot of like video shooting, which ended up turning into a documentary that we're repackaging right now for release. And went in the the second trip in 2012. And spent 4 weeks in Nepal, and I think that most people who went there had like a very strong connection with the people. I was kind of like protected by the camera, so my connection was much more with what I saw in the people that was working there. And then through all these images over and over for months and a couple of years actually. It's like Steven, although my change was not that radical, like Steven, I think that in my life there was like a before Nepal and after Nepal experience. The way I approach my life from a position of privilege, and what we do with that privilege is entirely different than what it was before the trip. And not just the trip, because one thing about the 108 Lives experience for me was not just being there, but actually the work that is done before going there. Figuring out how we're going to help, figuring out who we're going to help, figuring out, and putting a lot of our time in this crazy life thinking about what is it that we're going to do there. That it really loads the experience with meaning. And once you get there, it's like, wow, it's amazing!
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
So I'm here. I don't think I'm gonna go this year. Actually, 100% sure I'm not gonna go this year. I hope to go next year or the next. There's some friends there and a lot of. I feel that one lives a lot of oneself in the places that you kind of like fall in love with. So hopefully I'll get to go again. And I'm here to kind of like, answer questions, inspire whoever wants to go or to not go if it's not inspiring.
I'm here to not inspire you. If you were thinking of not going, I'm here to inspire you.
And yes.
Thank you.
My name is Peter. Hello, everybody. I also traveled to Nepal with the first trip in 2012. We were there for a month, and it was quite an adventure. It really was. It was pretty awesome. It's really far away. It's really hard to get to, and it feels quite exotic. I think when you finally, the whole journey there, being there, it feels quite exotic. Things are a little bit rough around the edges, and nothing quite prepares you for that. It's almost like that feeling when you're going camping or something, and you're just like, I'm not going to shower for a couple of days, or I'm not going to have all the comforts for a couple of days, but that's your whole experience there. There are a few showers to be had here and there, and a few plush pillows to be had, but life is pretty rough. That was before the earthquake. I can actually only imagine what it's like now. I can only imagine. All of these pictures with everyone smiling, we didn't like edit these out like, oh, let's only show the nice ones. Like, we really had a lovely time. The first couple weeks we were there, we were just meeting these kids in orphanages. We were having like dance parties every day. It was just like the boombox would come out, Michael Jackson would go on. It was like dance party. It was like every day, dance party, dance party. The kids are really open. They're very respectful of adults. They're actually a pleasure to work with. They're not like American kids at all. They're very respectful of adults. They're very kind. They're very interested, curious, fun. So that whole part was wonderful. And then I went back again. I made many friends. I had a wonderful experience. I wanted to go back, and I went back again in 2014. I went with my partner, who was mostly interested in going just because I wanted to go. So that was a different trip. I went for 2 weeks, and we kind of did a little bit of working with 108, and then a little bit of touring on ourselves, by ourselves. And yeah, it was just, going back a second time, I think I saw a little bit more of some of the roughness of the country. And touring around, we were kind of separated from our little protected bubble that we had been in with our friends and stuff. And it was sad. It's sad to see it. It really is. It's a very poor place. And not everyone, everyone says like the people are so happy, but there's more going on there. When you get to know people, I think they put on a really good face, but I think they have really hard lives, and there's a lot of sadness. So there is no shortage of opportunity to help. Just getting to know people, playing with the kids. The kids that we work with, a lot of them just don't get a lot of adult attention and adult time. So it's like just being there, playing with them, talking to them, hugging them, really means a lot. And you'll have like 50 Nepali Facebook friends. All these kids when you come back.
And then,
so anyone who's thinking about it, I would say do it, and I think it's a fantastic experience, and it will change you in some way, on some level. For me, it's given me a whole other view on the privilege that we have. I just remember coming back to JFK after being in Nepal for a month, and like walking into the bathroom at some new terminal, and just like putting my hands under this like beautiful clean water comes out. I'm like, oh my god, we live in like paradise. This is the shitty bathroom at JFK. It's like the nicest palace I've been in a month. And then I'm just coming back to New York, seeing everything. Even like driving through Long Island City, the parts that to me always appear as like so shitty and industrial. It all just seemed like so clean, so well put together, so beautiful. And it changed my perspective radically. So that's just a slice of it, but yeah, I say do it. Do it if you can.
Cool. Thank you. And hi to all the people who are watching. I think Andrea is watching in Florida. I'm not sure about Flavia in Argentina. I've got a couple of people in Australia who, if they're not watching now, they're going to watch later. And where's Candace? Is she in California? Yeah. She messaged that she couldn't do it. So hi, whatever your reason for listening, welcome. I want to just talk about 3 different things, maybe 4. But I want to talk about what happens before we travel. So I'll just share some things that we do before getting all together to travel, some of the minutiae and some of the philosophical. And then what do we do while we're there? Some of the practical and some of the philosophical. And then what happens on disconnecting and coming back, you know? I think that's what I want to talk about today. And then through that, maybe give your opportunity to ask questions, and if the people that have been there before can answer those questions, then that feels nice to me. Because the project is not like they're just running a project, and I don't want it to be that. And it's not really a project anymore. It's become this thing. We go and hang out with people that we've made connections with, and we help, you know, and help comes in many different ways. But we still come from a place of the philosophy that was born here. So here we teach Buddhist philosophy. The philosophy before going is that you try and identify what is your motivation for connecting. That's why I wanted to know from each of you, why would you want to go? So understanding what is searching or seeking in you or looking for connection in you. If you identify that really clearly, and you identify, you nurture it, you grow it, and you begin to imagine, when I'm over there, this thing, when I'm over there, this thing, when I'm over there, this thing. You begin to build the potential for a transformation to occur, karmically speaking, from what the Buddha taught about karma. So you're grabbing attention to a specific part of your being, your consciousness. It might be disconnecting from certain things in life. It might be sick of the privilege thing. Maybe I need to look at my life differently. Whatever the reason is, you begin to pay attention to that. And you have some kind of imaginary view of, oh, I just heard this people talk about Nepal, and it might be like this for me, it might be like that. You're actually creating the fuel to transform that thing in you. It won't transform the way you're thinking about it, though. Okay, so all you're doing is like you're putting heat under something that's bubbling now, yeah? And then when you're over there, the connections you have with people and the things that come up, you just have to deal on a moment-to-moment basis, not try and force that experience. Just let go of the expectations, forget that you did any of these expectations, and our job while we're there is to completely forget ourselves and our wants and the rest, and just look at those eyes or that person and say, what is it that you want? And just help them. And that has some effect in the deeper sense of you to transform that stuff you prepared before. And then on return, you begin to connect the dots and go, oh my God, I did this. Oh my God, that shifted. Oh my God, look at that. So from the philosophical point of view, you're basically working the game of karma as taught by the Buddha here, to say, there's these 4 steps called the karma marga, which is you grab the intention, you plan the action to fix that thing in you or to get that thing you want or to address the issue you're having. So you're planning and your mind is just like needing that part of your mind. And then you take some action, and that action should be about giving, it should be about taking care of others and looking after another and helping somebody else's interest, hopefully connected to yours. So if someone wants happiness, you want happiness, that makes it easy. Just give them what you think you want for you. You want happiness? I can give you happiness. I know wanting happiness is something that would be good for me to get fulfilled. So if I can't yet fulfill it for me, let me fulfill it for you, because it's simpler to get happy a little kid, yeah, than all the work that we have to do for us. And then later on, being happy and rejoicing and making the connection that actually begins the transformation process. That's the 4-step process that sits behind every activity we do for 108 Lives, and it doesn't have to be so structured. You just need to know enough about it. So if you have a meditation practice, if you if you're a rapid thinker, like a daydreamer, the time before going is get really clear which aspect of your life you'd like to transform for the better, and it's like getting that ready for transformation for Nepal. How can I do that for someone else in Nepal? Like that, begin to daydream about it. And then when you're there, all you need to do is help in all the activity we'll talk about in a sec. So that's the philosophical aspect, right? This is called the 4 steps of karma, or to make the karma quickly grow. The practical aspect, whilst you're doing that in your mind, and we do that every year in different ways. While you do that with your mind, you've got to get prepared. So you've got to figure out, are you going to get shots? What do you before going? How are we going to get the tickets? How long are you going? Do you need time off work? Will we pick you up at the airport? Do you have your passport updated? What other things do we do beforehand? Do we have enough money to do the activity we're going to do over there?
You have to book your flight.
Book your flight, etc. What else? Visas. Meetings to say, okay, let's get to know each other, so we're not fighting straight away. We'll fight like within 2 days of being there, not in the beginning. You don't fight actually. It's
Maybe one to one.
Yeah, that was you and me. Yeah, I want that. That's right. No, purification. No, and you see stuff come up. Like the other thing that happens. So that's all the stuff beforehand. This year, we're doing it a little bit different, because you know that I'm coordinating with a lady called Andrea this thing called the Buddha Journey, where we're doing a pilgrimage of the Buddhist sites in reverse. In other words, we're going first where the Buddha passed, and then to recognize that we're also going at some point in our lives, we're going to have that experience of leaving the planet. And you consider that one person left 2,500 years worth of legacy in a very profound way that affected cultures, right? What's our legacy if we go, when we go? So then we start there, a really nice, optimistic start to an amazing journey. And then we go to where the Buddha first taught his sermon of the 4 Arya Truths, and we go there to talk about what is it that we articulate in our world, what is worth sharing, like all the stuff you know in your life so far, and you know in your life so far, what is worth sharing that you already know? Because somebody on the planet needs to know what you already know. You learned it already, you figured it out, you might think it's second nature to you, but to a person that hasn't gotten there yet, they need your words, like we needed the Buddha's words. So we spent some time there thinking about that. Then we go to where the Buddha got enlightened, and we connect on our moments of truth, moments in our lives, peak moments of experience in our lives that just woke us up and gone, I'm no longer doing bar anymore, I'm now shifting my life completely. What was the spark behind that? And spending time revisiting that gives you power to reconnect with that power inside of you. And then at the end of that trip, this is a separate trip, that's not this trip, right? At the end of that trip, we go to Lumbini in Nepal, where the Buddha was born, and we talk about what's a rebirth in my life look like? What's a new life of mine look like? Knowing what I can teach or what I can share, knowing the power of what I've got to share and how, and knowing that I've had those moments of insight. So Andrea, who's helping organize that trip, is now going to coordinate. She's an expert travel agent, 20 years in the travel industry. She's offered to organize our bookings, our flights, and everything, and so we don't have to figure it out like we've done it in the past. Everyone has full-time jobs or working really hard, and we used to share a spreadsheet and it would work, and we'd have meeting after meeting. She also has capacity to get group discounts if we're all living, more than 10 people are living from one city, etc., etc. So she's offered to coordinate that for us, and she's listening. She's also, because of the Buddha Journey trip, has discussed with many of the people that want to come on that journey. Since the earthquake, we shifted that trip from September to now February, the Buddha Journey. So a bunch of those people still want to come to Nepal. So she's got a bunch of people who are not doing the Buddha Journey now, but really want to give and help, who are considering coming to the Nepal trip. And so she's coordinating with those mostly from Argentina, mostly from South American countries who will come over here or go to Nepal and spend some time doing this. So she'll coordinate flights from there and so on. So this year we've got a spreadsheet with people's passports, tickets, dates of arrival, dates of return, whether you're twin share or living on your own, how much, etc. So she's coordinating that. The other thing that we've done this year is, in the past, it's been difficult for me to organize the finances for everybody. So you're staying 2 nights at the hotel, I end up sitting with the hotel person and figuring out, you stayed 5 nights but you had 2 Coca-Colas, but that Coca-Cola wasn't yours, it was that one. And then everyone leaves and we end up paying for a little bit more, or someone else pays for someone else, etc. This year, we decided to set a $900 a week, includes all the transfers over there, like trips, food, accommodation, so you don't have to do anything except your extra. 300 of those dollars goes to donating to the 108 Bus project. So if we're doing the rebuilding of the school in Fulton, $300 of your ticket per week, or your price per week, will go to this. The rest goes to costs for the transportation, for the cooks, or etc. that we're going to hire to make meals for us, and for the accommodation. And a portion of that will go to pay for Andrea and my fare, or part of it. I'm going to also contribute. So the administration of it is paid for. It's very different to what we've done in the past. But I think it's going to work easier for those people that have come before and want to go. We're also happy to reduce that and give you guys a discount of the $300. I don't need you to pay for me. So that's offered to the people that have been before. That's the finances of the current trip. So roughly, but we're also flexible on it. $900 a week includes fare, not your plane ticket from here to there, right? Includes accommodation over there, picking up from airport, getting on buses, going to the remote village of Fulping, taking day trips to somewhere else, and food. So then you need extra cash if you want to do special trips, if you want to go hiking, if you're going to stay longer, etc., etc. Right? That's finances, and Andrea is organizing that on the spreadsheet. So if those people that are interested in going want to continue, you'll coordinate with her, and she takes care of it, like our own private travel agent.
So it's $900 a week?
900 a week, So, and we roughly figured out it would be third, although the accommodation and the food and all that, depending on who we get to do the cooking and the buying and all that stuff, will fluctuate. Also depending on how many jeeps we need to take, if we're going to Fulping, and then we're probably going to have to buy tents because there won't be things over there. So we try to estimate the best we can with the information we've got so far, that it's not too terrible for everybody, that we don't have to fork out too much more money just to settle that out. I don't want to use any of the money that people donated to 108 Lives to do any traveling at all. All that money, 100% of that should go to doing the rebuilding effort that we promised. That's another thing. Whilst we're there, we're using the money that was fundraised since the earthquake, or actually since February, to spend. Originally it was for a medical clinic, and now it's going to be for rebuilding the school in Fulping, which is not there. Fulping is that village. The school building is not there. So that's the Gompa, or the temple in Fulping. Everything in that village got destroyed, including that temple. Although it's not fully down, it's like at a 45-degree angle. And our main goal is to rebuild that thing. I'll give you an update in a second about that. So that'll take some jeeps rather than buses, because the roads to Fulping are long. What else did I tell you before we go? Vaccination versus conventional medicine versus alternative medicine. For malaria. What was the other?
Hep A.
Diarrhea. Hep A, Hep B. So who did the conventional vaccines? You did conventional, normal
Last
vaccines?
year I did.
Last
First year I did.
First year. And then last year you did the
No, the last The first year I just did like Chinese medicine.
Chinese medicine, and last year you did vaccines.
Yeah.
Did you have any feedback? Anyone overt?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. For sure, I thought I had parasites. I can't be 100% certain.
The first year or the
I
second
might
year?
still have them. I don't know.
Right.
The second, you think you got them the first year?
The first time, yeah. The first time I got really sick on the plane ride back.
Oh.
Yeah, that you were fine all the way
I was
along.
fine, and then I got food poisoning like never had
On
before.
Indian Airlines.
Yeah,
Not in Nepal.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was
Good.
pretty good in
Did you get sick in Nepal?
I didn't get sick at all in Nepal.
Did you take
Only
conventional
Chinese medicine.
Chinese medicine? So we have a whole spreadsheet based on alternative medicine treatments for preparation, that you build up immune system and the rest, and you have remedies through Chinese medicine, so herbal, non-invasive. And we also have links to travel doctors to take, and it's your choice. We don't.
Also, I think that now with the fact of the earthquake and all that, I would be a little bit more cautious than just Chinese medicine. Because I decided for the Chinese medicine and no formal treatment because I read and nobody said like, oh, you really wouldn't have to use it. Like if you travel to Brazil or Guyana or certain areas in Peru and Ecuador, you really, really need it. But everywhere I read in Nepal, you didn't need it. Now with the earthquake, I don't know what the sanitary conditions are. I think I would advise to be a little bit extra cautious
That's actually
in
a
this
good thing.
case.
I might just check and see
Yeah.
what the travel warnings are for now. I hadn't thought about the post-earthquakes.
I mean, I would say get the conventional only because like preventing hepatitis A or B or
Where do you get those?
Emily Hackenberg will give us advice on that. But it's like as simple as getting a shot, and like getting it over there is as simple as just contracting it.
So we have a document that we've been building up every year that we go, that has the links to both the Chinese medicine
Nah, I don't.
and to the doctors
it's not
that
from
give
like
you
a
those
hepatitis B.
things. Some of them
You don't wanna
give
get
them
them
a couple of
if
months
you haven't
before
had
the
those,
go,
you should get
that's
those
why
in
we want to do
even
that
with
now.
your-
So if you're interested
Yeah, I never
in
did
that, you
Your
are.
meds,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested in whatever.
Yeah, so if you're all interested in the links, then can someone be the point of contact here? Can you be the point of contact? Can you, we swap numbers, or we've got your details over there, and we'll send you a link to the Google Doc that has the list of Western doctors travel. Yeah. What else? Yeah, questions?
Do we need visas?
Yes.
How does that work?
Two methods now. They opened up a visa process where you can get your visa on landing, but we recommend you get your passport, you go to the Nepalese embassy
I think they
here.
changed it. I don't think they do here.
Really?
Can you do it? Well, I'm not in New York.
You can do it by
I have no
mail.
idea what's involved with getting a visa
Sure.
anywhere.
I think you either have to literally mail your passport to the Nepalese Nepal embassy, or
Okay.
in Washington DC, and it takes like 3 or 4 weeks, and then they stamp it and send it back to you, or you spend like $20 or something and get it in the airport.
In the airport.
It's not a huge fee, but it's
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just a longer line. So if you've gotten your visa beforehand, you can walk straight up to this one line that's very fast, and you walk straight through. Then you also know you're not going to be. Nepalis really like organizing the organization and putting stamps on things and having a process. So they'll force you to do a process for the sake of line up. And now we're official, right? Look at me, I got a stamp. And so on. So that tends to take, bureaucracy that takes to take a long time. My preference is if we can get our visas before we go through the express line. You're not going to have anyone challenging you.
What kind of visa?
You can do, depends, so that's the other thing. Some people come with one-way guys, like the winner of the last year's ticket came and helped us for 2 weeks, Pete. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it helped us for as long as we were doing it, maybe 3 to 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah.
And then he went off on his own and did his own thing, and he stayed there 7 months.
Right.
He renewed his visa, and he had a life-changing experience, right?
Mm.
He went traveling all over the place, and he had an amazing time. So we're completely open, yes.
So I mean, I'm like as far as that guy's visa, what?
So he got a 3-month
It's
visa.
36 or 90 days.
Yeah.
Okay,
In Nepal, and I think you might have to leave and come back if you want.
He did that, yeah.
Longer.
okay, okay.
I also want to say
That's,
that like think about being on a plane for 30 hours and then getting off and being like stuck in a line again. I
right.
just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to research.
Just
That's the way to get a
Google
visa.
visa, Nepal.
Yeah, but the simple
Yeah,
process is the
instructions.
same as before. So you download the form, you fill in the form, and you mail it. There are 2 forms. Last time I remember, one is for TC, one is for New York. You fill it in and you send it. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
But that's a good thing. We should check. But also, I can get Andrea to check. So we might, if Andrea's going to do a travel agency stuff, we might just get all that stuff to her and she can organize it. Yeah.
Okay.
Visa process. New York.
Patrick, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Your Buddha journey, you're
Yeah.
doing that before?
We're doing that in November, not February now.
Oh,
We
so
were
it's
going to
like-
do it in September, but since the earthquake happened, we decided to change it. Some people from that trip now are coming to One Away Lives instead. Yeah, and I think that's good, because they wanted to help. So we're going to do the Buddha journey in February with Andrea.
What's the difference in the weather, February to November?
It's Celsius, so in September it's really nice, like it's like now. In February it gets down to 2 to 7 degrees at night,
Okay.
Celsius, not
Right.
Fahrenheit, which is,
So that's like 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
yeah, in the night, so it's cold and chilly at night, but during the day
It's like
it's beautiful and sunny, like 23 degrees, 25 degrees, which is
around
70 something, 80.
Yeah, between 69 and 74.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like that. So it's nice during the day and just crisp at night in your blankets. So that's for the Buddha journey.
Right.
Right now for the Nepal trip in October, it's really perfect weather, a little crisp at night. It's getting crisp
Yeah.
towards November. More questions? Do you have any questions?
Does Andrea have the hotel picked out already in Kathmandu?
So we have not yet got the hotel in Kathmandu. We're thinking of staying in one of the guest houses because Om Guest House is not up. Yeah, so Om Guest House is the place we used to stay all the time. That's not a guest house anymore. They're renovating into something else. But we're going to figure out how many people are definitely coming, and then we're going to negotiate for room prices dash cook dash provide a breakfast and the rest. Trying and negotiate something. If we don't have a large number, if we have less than 10 people, we might do Rockport Guest House, which is expensive, but we can afford to do it. And it also the money from that goes to one of the non-profits we help. So that's the double win. Yeah. But we'll see how busy they are. They're pretty booked at the moment because they've got all the NGOs, got people from all over the world that are helping Nepal at the moment, from like really big non-profits are all staying in all the guest houses in Kathmandu.
And what's the deadline if people are interested in going for them to let 108 know?
Yeah, good. So we said on the 15th of July, tell us your intent. You don't have to say, if you say yes on the 15th of July, we force you to go. But if we know that we're engaging with you by the middle of this month, which is next week, right? That's why we're holding the meeting now. If you're serious in coming, or 80% or whatever, tell us you are coming, so that we'll keep you in the communication. And we don't mind if you fall off along the way, because also there'll be other people that will come up along the way. We've had people last minute, decide, I'm going to, like Phil, for example,
Or opposite Birdie.
already on the
They're
day,
going
on the day,
of their marriage.
So, this really is a micro non-profit, and the point of it is for us to make connections with people from another part of the world and have an experience with them that is life-changing on both sides. Yeah, and in the process, this thing with unconditional giving. And we've got so far about $15 to $16,000 in funds we've raised, and that should be way enough to reconstruct a school buy the books and the benches and whatever, and then have some fun with all the other kids in the orphanages and schools where we're in Kathmandu.
I have a couple of questions. You talked about kind of deciding on the project that might be related to the building, whether you'd be ready to do that. I mean, what's the process?
So we had, it doesn't matter what we organize, like we've been doing this year after year, it doesn't matter what we organize, the day we get there, it's changed. Yeah. And this is the awesome part about it. Like I used to get the shits with it, like internally, but really the awesome part about it is if this is an experiment in unconditional giving, and that's the reality I'm facing, why get upset? Like just help, whatever it is.
But given that this year is...
Yeah, given this year is very different. We plan to focus our funds, the funds we raise, to rebuild that school. The latest news we have from Geshe Tachi, who's our contact here from that village, is the Umse to the Dalai Lama, or who was the Umse, the chanting master to the Dalai Lama for years. He's the person that got us to go to that village in the first place, to that village he was born. His family hosted us there, his friends and villagers connected with us because of him. Based on our latest information from him, there is nobody living there at the moment. They've all left this remote village. The majority of the village is living with his mother in Kathmandu in little apartment rooms and other friends in Kathmandu. But they are currently actively looking for someone that we would organize the contract to rebuild the school. So we're looking to use our money to pay local people to rebuild that school and whatever else we can do around it. He yet hasn't come back to me about what it is, and I expect that relationship and dialogue will change. If still there'll be no building while we're there, by the time we get there, I believe we will go on a short excursion there, maybe a couple of days, take it as trekking time, go with some of the villagers who are in Kathmandu and go and walk their home turf with them and vision and imagine and dialogue about rebuilding the school. And we'll probably take tents and camp up there and the rest, and take it like a little excursion for us, and also an opportunity to say, here are the funds, we're putting it over here, show us, do the whole dialogue and negotiation for rebuilding that school. Yeah. So the answer is, we have a goal to rebuild that. How it's going to happen, we still have no clue. In the downtime, meaning when we are not doing that, which is the main reason to go, we have plenty of things to do in Kathmandu.
So the majority of the time...
The majority of the time, I believe, will probably be in Kathmandu, unless some miracle happens and they all decide to move back. There's no houses there, so they can't quite move back. Yeah.
So you're going to build a school for a place where there's houses.
Well, they're not going to let go of their land. You see, we've had a little chat about this. They're not going to let go of that land. They're all in their effort to rebuild their own houses. Yeah, but they're not going to have them all rebuilt by September, October. So Geshe Tashi thinks they're not going to go back there until later. They're going to, like the way you earn money in Nepal is very hard. They send people to India to earn money, and then they come back, and then they might rebuild a room, and then they might rebuild 2 rooms. But they're not going to let go of the farming land that they own. So I believe that putting the school up allows all the villagers around the area who send their kids to that school to still maintain Philippines as the central focus for the area. So I think that's what our goal is. But I'm open that our job is to help. If Geshe Tashi tells me we've had a conversation and we're going to not use the village anymore, which I doubt, your funds are better spent doing this, like build a bridge, then if we have enough money, we'll build a bridge or whatever it is. Yeah? Or fix the road so people can get trucks up. Whatever it is, we'll do. But us as Westerners, I think this is the other thing I haven't talked too much about. It doesn't matter whether we build a school, whether we take them on a trip, whether we fix the road. I mean, that matters nominally. But what really matters is the relationship they have with you So I know for a fact that many of the girls in the village where these things are made, they don't have women role models to say a woman can be self-sufficient. You're traveling without your husband, they let you. You know, like, you take it for granted, but they just spend 1 hour having tea with you and they check out your existence, and now they have this possibility in their mind. Oh, maybe I could be a beautiful, clean, new clothes, independent chick. You know, like maybe. Or you went to school, you studied something, maybe I can get an education. And the same for the boys. They're like, oh, you're a builder? I don't have to be a lawyer or whatever they all have to be. They have to be doctors, right? Well, yeah, that's the option, but if they had opportunity for school, they'll think they have to be doctors. So then you're a role model for something else. And you don't have to try to do anything, you just have to be you. And you spend 3 hours playing something, eating something, all of a sudden the entire download of who you've become is a possibility for someone who would never have that opportunity. Or it never occurred to them that they could do that. And I believe that's the biggest gift you can give someone. You have, you're like a tiny image of a superhero in their mind that can come up whenever they're dreaming about a brighter future. And I think that's really the most awesome thing we do with the kids. They have a spectrum of opportunity because of yearly connections with us. Yeah. And then that gets strengthened with Facebook. Yeah, so does that answer your question about, sorry, I don't know, so we're just going there to be ready, but we've got cash to do something. Yeah, so you see how it's not a non-profit. We're going to teach 25 children how to say "om." We're not that. Anyone else? Any other questions? So far we have confirmed 2 Australians who are coming. So Evan, for those of you who met Evan from Australia, is coming at the end of October. The trip opens October 4th. So we decided to say, if you can come those first 2 weeks of October, from October 4th onwards. If you can come a week, that's fine. A week can also be 10 days, we don't care. We just have to put some kind of structure around it so it's not a nightmare when we go over there. If you can come the second week, that's good too, but it'd be nice if everyone tried to be there around the same time. No, we'll be there for the entire month. We'll leave on October 31st.
Wait, why the first 2 weeks then?
It's just easier to have, if we're going to be impactful, it'd be nice to have all of us together rather than 3 of us the first week, 2 days later 4 of you come, and 10 days later 6 of you come. Just as a team, it'd be easier to be together. It also will make Andrea's job for coordinating rooms easier. We can probably get a better deal, which means more money goes to the project, yeah, and so on. But if you can't do it, that's fine. But you'll either have to take time off work or change your schedule, etc. So we're saying if you can make a choice, try and come the first 2 weeks of October, starting October 4th. If you can't, no problem. We'll be there until the 31st. And if you want to make it a bigger, longer thing, stay longer, then come whenever you like and stay for as long as you like. You don't have to just be there for 108 lives. There is an opportunity on the 3rd week of October, around the 20-something, early 20s or 18th or something like that, to revisit Mustang. So we're a bunch of people that are coming from South America expressed a wish to come to the locked kingdom of Mustang, which we went for the first time last year. Sorry, please feel free to eat. Yeah? And we'll probably take a bunch of people to Mustang for a few days again. And we have a monastery up there, that's the place there. Jenna taught them kickboxing, and the little monks how to punch each other, and they were really happy. Yeah.
Is there a set dates to go to Fulton?
No.
Is there any idea of a range of what the tickets might cost with Andrew's help?
At the moment, they range between 860 and $1,000 return,
Which is cheap.
which is really cheap
Yeah.
if we pay 14. Yeah.
I feel like 1,900,
1900. However, I think she gets a 10% discount if we do it as a group. Yeah.
When will we, you'll let us know when?
We'll
I
still-
guess once you figure out.
You figure out who's coming from New York or from the US, yeah, then she can do a deal with that airline, and they hold us accountable. So if one of us drops out, then someone's going to pay that difference. You see what I mean? I don't know the exact, but that's a question for her. I can ask her what the percentage is. It's just a deal that travel agents have with travel with, yeah, they buy bulk. Or they reserve bulk, and then depending on who goes.
For me, as should I communicate with Andrea sometime? Will she get a hold of me? Do you have my email? Like, logistically, how?
Logistically, you send an email to Andrea saying, I'm interested in going these dates, and she'll take over the dialogue with you. She'll ask you, are you thinking to stay for 6 months, 3 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Are you living from New York? Do you do the visa? Do I do the visa? She'll arrange all that. So her email is on Facebook, on the 108 Lives webpage, but we can give it to you as well, or I can send it to you separately. Yeah, so if you want to go, or if you want to be put down on the list to go and possibly go, Andrea is the person to message, yeah? And her email is on the Facebook 108 Lives contact stuff. Is that cool? But of course, we can answer questions.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, you know, and she knows that as far as funding goes, you guys have allotted since I was.
Yeah, we got you sorted. Yeah.
So,
You're covered for the first 2 weeks.
Okay, and so my first step would be to email her.
The dates that you
And
can
start
are
a
available
dialogue
to travel. We'll buy you the ticket because you won it, yeah? And we'll book your first 2 weeks of accommodation because you won it. And then the rest of it, if you're going to stay extra with your friend or with others, just tell her. So the ticket booking can happen.
And is the 108 Facebook page the main way that things are communicated?
Yeah, until you go one-on-one with the email. So for example, by the time we've decided who's coming, we'll start doing a group email to say, here is the form or the link to the form for you to put in your particulars, first name, second name, last name, date of birth, blah, blah, blah. So you'll all have access to that Google Doc. That won't be on Facebook. They'll be only shared amongst the people that are traveling. Andrea will manage that process from email. Andrea just said the Mustang trip is 19 to the 25th of October. Thank you.
Like, everyone that's there is going on that?
Everyone that wants to come to that can go.
There's an option.
And 19th to what?
25th.
So there's an
I highly recommend it. Photography-wise, it's going to be stunning. I don't know if you saw the pictures.
I saw a couple of birds,
Yeah, it's like amazing. It's like you're in the moon. Yeah.
But it's,
So that,
And
if
then
you
there's
did,
lot little months.
if you did 3 weeks, did you say it was 800 or 900?
900 a week.
So that
Yeah.
would be 900 a week.
So I'm just saying Mustang, so 900 a week Mustang. The only thing that would not be included from Mustang, I think, or maybe it is, sorry, I don't know, I'll have to check, is it costs like $200 to get to Mustang in flights of 250 return, because you think it's return. Because you have to fly to Pokhara and then from Pokhara to Johnson, and then Johnson get how long was the Jeep?
12 hours.
Was it? No, that was going up.
Yeah.
The Jeep from Johnson, was it 12 hours?
Out from
To
Johnson
Kalpeni.
to Kalpeni, it was like 2 hours.
2 hours. So it's like, it's remote. It's like you're in the corner of the universe, and it's stunning. Yeah, it's stunning. You'll see desolate mountainsides with caves where people have meditated for years. And, yeah.
Or you could spend $12 and go on a local bus.
Oh, you and Rachel, right?
You think you're gonna die every second.
Was Mustang affected by that earthquake?
Not as much as other places, but they are raising funds in Mustang to help sister monasteries. So I haven't been in contact with Kempo actually to find out, other than everyone is okay. But I don't know if they sustained any damage. Everywhere we'll go in Nepal, people will think you're a walking ATM and they will ask you for help financially. And my advice is don't do it. Yeah, my advice is you will have your favorite beggar, you will have your favorite kid, you will have your favorite thing. Someone will come to you with a perfect story that can or cannot be true, I don't know. And your heart will move to want to help them. And I highly recommend you say, that is a good thing. I want to help you. My heart is completely open. But I'd also say be careful. Yeah, because I mean, we also deal with professional favors, people whose whole job is to get you to give me something. Yeah, and they'll figure out a way to do it. One of the amazing things about the first trip that I made, 108 interviews, when on returning to look for them, we found maybe 80 of their 108 people, and I'd say 60% of them gave me either incorrect information, so lied about their name, their age, how homeless they were or were not, yeah.
Big baby.
Yeah.
How many kids they had.
Fake babies, like they had somebody else's babies, yeah. And that was a beautiful lesson for me, because all of a sudden they taught me my attachment to, but I'm a good person going to give you help, and you lie to me? That's wrong, you know? And then I realized my attachment of my little square box view of helping another person. And then I realized a person that thinks that that's the only way you can sort out your existence, to actually sit on the side of the street all day with your cousin's baby to beg for, like, they're not going to go and shoot up drugs with that cash you gave them. You know, it is a completely different way of deciding you're going to spend your human precious life in order to eat a few bags of rice. And so all of a sudden my motivation returned, even though the way which that invocation came was different. But I realized a truer sense of my compassion rather than that they taught me that if I give you, you will smile and be grateful. You know, it's not like that. And I don't know who else had. I mean, I know you had some issues with giving to people.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I first said this last time, and I gave money to people, and I continue to. And then later, it just turned out they were not trustworthy people, basically, or sort of thieves, just like everyone else, or deceptive, just like everyone else. And then I felt foolish and didn't do it.
Yeah, but the motivation was really good, Peter, and you really did try to help, and you really did those nice things, and you did it out of the kindness of your heart, and I believe that's a good thing. And then you also have to figure out desertion.
And that's where the test is, not to be angry.
Yeah, exactly.
When you get judged.
Yeah, and to separate intention versus result. And so many of the things we teach here in the Buddhist class is karma planted, meaning your intention in action does not guarantee the outcome immediately, like planting seeds. You're going to put a whole bunch of watermelon seeds in the ground, and you're going to get watermelons. But you're not going to get them just after you've put them in the ground. You're not going to sit there and go, where's my watermelon? And then something will come up, and it could be a weed. And it wasn't the watermelon. But I planted watermelons, and I really want watermelon today. You can't get watermelon until the watermelon seed comes up. So the same with giving, the same with this kind of thing. We go over there, we have a nice project, we're going to rebuild the school and hang out with the kids in the orphanage of the schools and enjoy our time with them, help them with homework, do little projects like drawing, writing.
And those organizations are very reputable, very responsible.
We've vetted them year after
And
year.
they're very worthy of our money. So that's not the same as what you're talking about. This sort of,
And also, if your heartstrings are pulled and you want to give more, that's fine. You know, like just recognize that as a good thing in you, no problem. and that you are helping Nepal. You're going to help the shopkeeper that you're going to be friends with, and they're going to bargain with you, and that extra $2, that's good too. And navigating that really lets you check out your privileged lifestyle as well. You know, but one of the privileges we have is this trustworthiness we have with each other. You know, taco chips are $5. Here's $5. Thank you. That's taco chips.
To get the chips and send the money.
Yeah.
Not always.
Yeah.
A package of milk.
It's a the first it's a really clever scam. You have someone with a baby, looking really sad. Please give me milk for my baby. I don't want your money.
Let's do that first lady. Except I think that's not a bottle, that's like
Yeah. So they walk around like that, and so you go and say, "Oh, that's good. I can give you milk for the baby. I'm so good. I'm such a good Westerner." You know. So they go, they take you to the shop, they pick the big box of dried milk, not the little, right? So you spend all this money, and you're a good Westerner, and then you walk away and you feel perfect. And then they go back to the shop and they give back the milk box to the shop owner, and the shop owner takes advantage of them and only gives them back half of the money. That they made some more money, and it was your money, and you really did help the shopkeeper and her. And
It's like
if you don't know about it, you leave Nepal feeling really happy.
it's like the American stock market.
Yeah, it's yeah, and so it's this. You really have opportunity to check your limitations. You know, if you realize everything's up for grabs, then you just. Your reactions are actually what's inside of you and what you're able to change. So you gave somebody $5 to buy milk. You know, now you've got 2 hours of anger.
What's going on behind the scenes in this picture?
We're giving out to Jenna and Paula and all of us.
A little pissed off.
Yeah, she was very angry.
Wouldn't it be interesting to tell them that you know what they're doing, but you're going to help them anyway?
Anyway, exactly. Yeah, no, but you play like this, right? And then they laugh at you and they go, "Oh, Hector, come on."
Why is Jenna angry in this picture?
Jenna's angry in that picture because we had all the clothes that we brought with us, and everyone took an extra bag of clothes or shoes or something, and we had all of them in the back of that tent. And as soon as we opened up shop to give away, they didn't behave like we wanted them to, which was line up nice and neatly and be happy and ask for wait your turn. They actually sent their kids, and the kids ran under the table and went inside and started pulling out stuff. And she was like so pissed off. She was like, "Tell them to stop!" Oh, like she was really angry. It was complete mayhem. Yeah, complete
The
mayhem.
day she arrived.
Yeah, just like early on. But this is the thing. That memory for her is life changing, and she won't forget that day, and she loves that day. Yeah. But on the moment, it was hard. It inspired you to try and keep people away. Like, don't take the toothbrush that we brought for you.
Look how much fun they're having. Look how much fun they're having with that woman in the middle.
She's like, "Oh, look at these Westerns. Look
It's
at
like
this."
Christmas. They're like, woo! Grab the jeans.
So have you talked to Pulad?
I did not talk to Pula. Why?
Maybe he can come.
That's true. And Amrit was thinking of maybe he could come, but I'll ask. So we definitely have Flavia from from New York, who's currently in Argentina. She's an architect. She wants to come. We have, like I said, Evan and Paul from Australia. Paul is a dentist. We just met him. He's going to come maybe for a week. Evan's been there before. He's my best friend from high school. He's an amazing person to be there. He'll be there towards the end of the trip in October. I'm definitely going. Jenna said she's going. Jordan, I guess you're going.
Yeah.
You're going. Steven's going
At the end.
at the end. Who else? She said there's 3 people from South America who swapped. 2 of them are confirmed. One's already paid. The other ones are maybe. And then she's got this group of 30 who have expressed interest, but she's not gone back to them. So even if 5 of them come or 3 of them come from Argentina. And then you'd like to come as well. Oh, amazing thing. I didn't Shaquette said she was coming? Not coming?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think she can.
So we had Rachel, Jacqueline, Jenna
Oh,
said
Jenna's
yes.
definitely going.
Yeah. So we've got, I'd say a nice healthy group of maybe 10, 15 people who will come. It could be more, could be less. It's a very different trip to what we've ever had. And so it's going to be really eye-opening for all of us. I mean, Nepal looked pretty devastated before the earthquake. So just for those of you who haven't been there before, the government decided to widen all the streets in Kathmandu, and they're not really organized. So they started knocking down all the buildings that had encroached on public land or not encroached on public land and asked them all to cut back. I don't know, how much is that? 3 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot? Yeah. So then all the facades of the building, all the bricks were just crumbled onto the street the last time we were there before the earthquake. So they could widen the road, and then all the houses had to be rebuilt, like the new facades. So they knocked them down before they built the second facade, okay? So then so the roads were dug up, the bricks were falling down, and whenever cars would go, it would just be dust and so on. And then the earthquake happened, and all these pictures of Kathmandu looking devastated, looking exactly the same as what they looked before. But you didn't know it because you've never seen it before. Seriously, because nothing really happened in Nepal except some of the old buildings in the Bangkok. So
In Kathmandu.
in Kathmandu. In the rest of Nepal, completely destroyed. But in Kathmandu, not all the pictures we saw.
What's your overall feeling having been there? I know in certain places that I've been to with my camera equipment, I'm wearing my knapsack on my front, certain places you can refine it on your back. What's your feeling in terms of
You're 100% fine.
Really?
Yeah. The only thing is when we leave our hotel room, we are very trustworthy with the people that we stay with. They know us, especially if they're around Kathmandu. We lock everything up in a special room when we go on a trip or something. But traveling and so on, we've never had any problems.
Yeah, they're not the pickpocketing type.
Yeah.
They're not the pickpocketing type.
Yeah.
And they're
That'd
pretty
be great.
gentle people,
Yeah.
coming from New York, we're used to some fierceness here, and if we need to kind of stand up for ourselves, I think most of us
You
do
should
that.
do that in most areas.
They're very gentle.
Also, it's the area they go off and stuff like that. But
True.
I mean, it's like I certainly traveled in parts of Guatemala where I wasn't supposed to go, and that was fine.
Cool.
But
Yeah,
it's just
you had a demeanor about you're also a big guy, you're like, I'm here. Yeah.
Actually kind of scared.
Why you say that?
Is there something that I'm missing that I haven't thought about? Telling you about?
So we're good at hotel, you have electricity, we charge batteries, all that stuff, you're good.
The
There's a
electricity.
little bit of electricity, there's electricity.
There's electricity, they have what's called
Load sharing.
load shedding. So they shed load once a day before the earthquake. I have no idea now.
When we were there the first time, they had electricity 20 hours a day, and I think it went off 4 hours a day. When we were there last time, it was on 2 hours a day. So it had already radically.
Everybody's like charging batteries at
Yeah,
once.
so
Yeah.
make sure.
The Hector knows which cafes are open, which ones are special. They do have generators, so some places will have these little gas-powered generators. You can still get something, but not that much. A little bit of electricity.
Surprisingly, most places have Wi-Fi too.
Yeah, that's true actually.
It's slow though.
Now, not very quick
It's
Wi-Fi,
slow.
right?
It's
It's
kind
kinda
of like
like,
dial-up Wi-Fi.
don't think you're gonna upload all your pictures to your Dropbox from there, because it's gonna take
Yeah, long time.
But we've
yeah.
Skyped. We've done Skype there.
Yeah, but that kind of work with, like for example, we just had a photographer over there do a small project.
We're not gonna live stream.
No.
Live stream Nepal.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah, and it's like we can upload pictures and so on to our own laptops and all that. You won't have fast Wi-Fi until you leave there. Do you plan on staying long term or just a short time? I mean, it's a great opportunity.
What would you consider long?
Meaning, if you want to stay a couple of months.
Yeah, I haven't quite figured it out. I'm definitely going to stay longer than 2 weeks.
Great.
Whether that's a month or 2 months, I don't expect to stay more than
2 months.
yeah.
But yeah.
That'd be great.
Because I mean, especially my friend, you know, I can
If you
stay
can
with
stay
him,
with him, you should stay as
and
long
I'd
as
like to
possible.
do some hiking.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, crazy.
They have some decent
Yeah.
mountains there.
yeah, it's pretty good. We have the Catskills.
You know, the first time I had my 30th birthday on there in Hampton.
You became a bear.
No, I went in my
They were like, welcome.
around my birthday, so the end of October, and so the leaves were sort of dropped a little, and we stayed in a house up there. This is in the 90s, and I thought it was called Bear Mountain because there were no trees where we were at. You know, the GAR is totally there. So we decided to go and take candles and go hang out and do like a drum circle outside as darkness came over. I'm like, oh, what a cool idea. And then you start hearing sounds in the bushes. And you're like, what's that? Anyway, so and then another sound, what's that? And then someone says, hold on, is this called Bear Mountain because of bears? And then someone saw a bear, and we like shut ourselves and just grabbed everything and ran to the house. That's why it's called Bear Mountain.
There's just a wood value.
Where is Bear Mountain?
2.5 hours.
It's like an hour away.
It's not far from here.
Yeah, Rockland.
Oh, okay.
That's where you're from, right?
My mom was saying that.
Did anyone go to Tibet? They went on a trip last
No.
couple of trips.
Tibet is China,
China.
so you need a Chinese visa.
thing's right
Right
on
the-
right on the border.
Yeah.
But we were at the border.
You need a train.
We saw
Pakistani.
Tibet and China like right across the
Yeah.
border, which is very funny because it looks entirely different. You look at Nepal and it's falling apart, and you turn around look in China and it's a fortress.
Yeah.
With like gold shining in the top. It's crazy. Dude.
Yeah. I'm sure they put that just at the border. I don't know, over the hill it looks the
We
same.
met people that have been were traveling through.
Yeah.
It's a sound stage or a movie stage.
Yeah. So,
But most of the ethnic Tibetans, I think, are in Nepal now, or in India.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like you meet a lot of Tibetans in Nepal.
in the especially the area we're going, which is Bodhana.
You need a lot
And
of
if you're
Tibetans.
new to study Buddhism or newish, every monastery of the Tibetan tradition, they have a stronghold in Bodhana where we're staying. So we're staying in one of the oldest stupas, monuments of Buddhism in Asia. It's called the Great Stupa. I think it's the third largest dome-shaped thing with the eyes and the thing on top. And it's a place of ritual for thousands of people. Every morning they go around and they do what's called kora. You'll get this rhythm about staying there. And then they have their malas and their beads. And they do prayers from 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, 6. The incense starts lighting up. The sounds of Buddha starts waking up. The howling dogs, what else? Just the old ladies, the old guys. Everyone before work starts doing that. But then they'll leave, and then the Westerners come with buses from Kathmandu proper, and then they go and take pictures and have lattes, and then they leave. And then in the evening, the chorus starts again, the stupa lights up with candles, and it's really a stunning place to be at. It's got a rhythm to it and a smell to it that is unique. It's beautiful.
It's also one of the few places that feels really calm, considering in Kathmandu.
Yeah.
The city is quite wild.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of refuge when you come back there. It's there's sort of the Buddhist refuge, but there's also just a real refuge that is like, oh, it's quiet here, it's safe, it's beautiful, it's sweet.
And that's just a walk away from all the little orphanages and schools we work with. And we'll stay in that area, which is stunning. I don't know what else. Any other questions, feel free to connect with us on Facebook. If you've put your name down on the email there, I'll get that email list to Andrea and she'll put together an email thing.
Where do I put my email?
Huh?
So the basic payment will be made to her?
Yeah, once we've got it, like if she can get a discount, we'll tell you in advance.
Or like the $900 would be paid?
Yeah, to her. We actually have to figure out whether it's going to this bank account or that. I haven't figured out exactly where that money's going to
Someone
sit
takes the
in.
credit card.
Huh?
Someone takes the credit card.
Yeah, someone take the credit card.
Is there like a deposit, or we just pay the whole?
Yeah, unless you want to do it in terms that she's got those people in South America paying it in chunks until the day of travel, because that's what they do. They don't get credit cards the way we use credit cards in South America. You like a credit card, I can pay $20 every week until such and such. That's why they get credit cards. So I'm sure we can work out either or. You can do a payment plan or you can do it in full. I also recommend, if you are going to make the time to go, tack on extra time to be there on your own. Yeah, so for example, you come with us for 2 weeks for the $900, 600 of those bucks are going to go, the 600 of the bucks for the 2 weeks, right? 300 each week is going to go towards helping the orphanage. So you could stay there for 600 bucks or less. Yeah. Take the time to go and do a trek. Take the time to go and do a meditation retreat. Take the time to pop into India. Take your time to go, okay, we finished with one day, but what am I going to do for me? If you've got the opportunity to do that, please do it. Because you went to India, right? And
Yeah, it's only about $100 to go to India from.
yeah, it's like if you're going to be all that way, why not just go and have your own experience? You know, and I can hook you up. We can hook you up with go to Mustang or go to Pokhara or go get the meditation. Do we have to get out of here? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Going once, going twice.
Thank you for all the beautiful food.
Yeah, thanks for the food, Missy. If you make sure you put your email on that list, I'll get that list to Andrea, and we'll answer questions, and then we'll coordinate from there. Thank you very much.
If everyone could just pick up their questions from away.
What's happening?
Really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I move this?
Yes.
Please, Ted.
Thank you.